Across My Heart Ministry. Lauren McFarland here. Well, if you've been thinking you'd like to have some sort of a new recipe to sort of jazz up your holiday breakfast, whether we're talking Thanksgiving or Christmas or some sort of a brunch you may be going to over the holidays, maybe you thought you'd like a little homemade gift to drop off at the church office or to the office where you work, or have for the ladies in your neighborhood, or just to give to your kid's teacher or whoever. I've got you covered. This is a new recipe that I'm trying. I think it's going to be absolutely yummy. It actually could be made in a long oblong baking dish. I'm choosing to make it in 2 round pans today because I want to give this away and go in 2 different directions. So I think it's very versatile. You could do it in smaller pans, 2 pie pans that are disposable. You don't have to worry about getting them back. But what makes it special is it's cranberries. And so if there were going to be a Christmas themed fruit or a Thanksgiving themed fruit, the honorary fruit of the holiday season, surely it would be cranberries, the humble cranberry. We see it all in the stores during the holiday season. You better get them while they're there because soon they'll be gone. I think they do freeze well, so that's also an option. But I'm calling this recipe Christmas Cranberry Cinnamon Roll Bake. So it's a little bit of a twist on a traditional cinnamon roll. I am cheating a little because I'm going to start with prepared cinnamon rolls, and let me just get right to it. I also have a few fun cranberry fun facts about cranberries to share with you as we're making this together. We'll see if I get down the list while we're doing it. Let me just add that I've got the oven preheated to 350, and I'm spraying my 2 pans with cooking spray to keep them from sticking. My cranberries I've already washed, and I've got those kind of drying on a tea towel, so we'll use those as well. But the first thing we're going to do, also, I have melted my butter in advance. Now, I'm hoping that's melted enough. I may have to hit it in the microwave just briefly before we get to that. But we've got this sprayed. The first thing I'm going to do is open up my cans of cinnamon rolls. Now, if I can find the beginning, I probably should have started this off camera. When my mother-in-law started her real estate career after my husband and his younger brother got a little bit older, she no longer had time, she said, to make homemade bread. So she would buy canned biscuits, and my husband said, oh, we're having WAP biscuits again, because she would open up the thing and sort of hit it to open it up. And so anything prepared in a package like this, whether it's crescent rolls or cinnamon rolls or biscuits, if we buy those, they're just now called WAP biscuits in the McFarland family, thanks to Gloria. Now, in the bottom of the container, you're going to find a little bit of icing. And so we're going to set this aside for now because we are going to use it later. But in the meantime, we're going to take each of these cinnamon rolls and we're going to sort of cut them in fourths. Mine is already trying to unwind, but if I could keep them all together, the hack is to go ahead and just cut them in one big long roll. And so that will save you some time. Then we're going to rotate and we're going to cut them again. So this is sort of called a cinnamon roll bake instead of individual cinnamon rolls. So you're going to scoop it up and put it on your plate with all the other things. So I'm just sort of going to drop these in as such. And we will have one whole package. I'm going to cut that one again. I may have not gotten it quite cut the way I wanted. Sure. So we'll have one roll of cinnamon rolls in each of my round pans. And again, you could do this in an oblong pan as well. I am just opting to do it this way. Here we go. I think they will rise up a little bit when they're baking, so I'm not going to worry too much about whether or not they're all completely filling the pan. And the pan that I'm using is just a little bit larger than the other one. I probably would have opted for a smaller one, but here where I am, I just have to use what I've got available. So here we go. Get these in here. Cranberries, I picked up these fun facts as I was telling you. 99% of the world's consumption of cranberries are in the United States and Canada. So we are the big eaters of cranberries. We're also the big producers. The #1 state for cranberry production is Wisconsin. You know, normally when we hear Wisconsin, we just think of cheese, but they're also all about the cranberries up there in Wisconsin. So that's interesting. Also learned that cranberries are one of 3 fruits that are native to the United States. And can you guess what the other 2 are? If you said blueberries, you would be right. Blueberries and cranberries are probably closely related. And in fact, in the recipe that you'll see if you download, I noted for you that if you want to make this recipe year round, you could substitute blueberries for the cranberries. So that's a little idea for you there. Okay, so got that done. I'm gonna open up the other one. Here we go. Okay, what else about cranberries? You know, we think about a cranberry bog. You sort of think about a cranberry as growing in water. I don't know why we assume that, maybe because of the word bog. But they really don't grow in water. They grow on a little bush. And actually, those bushes they grow on have an incredibly long life. There are cranberry little bushes that are over 100 years old. I thought that was phenomenal. They do flood the little blueberry patches or whatever they're called with water, and that's when they're ready for the harvest season. So probably that's where we get the idea that they grow in water. And the reason they do that is because it makes it easy to harvest, because the little cranberry here actually floats. And the reason they're so buoyant and they float is because they have 4 air pockets inside of them. Who knew? And so I read that one way that you can know if the cranberries are ripe is if you drop them, they will bounce. So I do not recommend doing that in the grocery store to test your cranberries. You're probably going to buy them in a package anyway. But thought that was quite interesting that they contain those little air pockets. They are also a fantastic source of vitamin C. And so we always want to try to stay healthy, and we think of vitamin C as protecting us from colds during the winter season. And so even historically, this was known because I read that they were used for survival during World War II. They would put cranberries in the packs for the Civil War soldiers and help protect them from getting scurvy because they didn't get enough fresh fruit and enough vitamin C. So I felt that was also interesting. Also interesting is how they got their name. When back in the olden days, when people first came to our country and they saw cranberries for the first time, because again, they're native to North America, they thought the blossoms looked like a bird, maybe like a crane. And so they started calling them cranberries. And then from cranberries, they just got adapted to the name cranberries. So all sorts of interesting fun facts that you can share around your Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner table if you're serving cranberry sauce, or around your breakfast table if you happen to make my cranberry cinnamon roll bake here. So I'm trying to get the rest of these pulled in here. This pan nests in the other one, so it's slightly smaller. And so what I may end up doing is sharing a little bit of the cinnamon rolls that were intended for this pan. If I did them evenly, put them into the other one. I may just do that. So let's just fill in a couple of what feels like little wide holes here. Now, I also saw a similar recipe for this where you could do it in a butt pan, and I thought that would be really pretty. You could put the cranberries in the bottom, put the cinnamon rolls on top, and then after it's baked, sort of flip it over and you've got this beautiful dome. But I didn't want to mess with that. Just want to push the easy button, put it in here like this. So now my cranberries, and this is a 12-ounce, I believe, package of cranberries. Where is it? Yes, 12 ounces. So I'm going to put 6 ounces of cranberries in each of these. And again, I've already washed these and have them ready to go. So the cranberries are just going to make it look so incredibly beautiful. It just adds that gorgeous pop of color. And in fact, if you wanted to do some blueberries and some cranberries, or put some cranberries in the freezer and pull them out next 4th of July, that would be a pretty red and blue theme to your breakfast table. But for now, we're just going to do it like this. Get this all on here. Chase my cranberries. Get them all distributed here. This is I've got the oven preheated to 350. It actually is a convection oven, so it automatically adjusted to 325 for me. But they're going to bake about 25 to 30 minutes or until the edges are sort of light golden brown. And as always, you want to sort of maybe bake it for just a little bit less time than it calls for to check your oven. Your oven may bake a little more quickly. You don't want them to burn after you've gone to all this trouble. Everybody's oven is a little bit different. So here we go. I think I'm getting them pretty much even. If you are watching this video, I would love for you to leave me a note below and tell me, if you make these, who do you think you would make them for? Would they be for your family? Who is a person at Christmas that you might decide to drop these off to and to bless with these? So let me do this. So now we've got, oh, there's a missing cranberry. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. Save our icing. So now the only thing we have left to do, just a few ingredients here, actually 5 ingredients. So you always love it when it's 5 or less. So we have 5 ingredients left. I have melted 1 1/4 cups of butter. And if you give me one moment, I think I'm going to just heat this up just a little bit to make the brown sugar, make sure the brown sugar blends in thoroughly. Okay, and I'm back and my butter is nice and melted now. So I have no worries about my brown sugar mixing in nicely. So I have a 1/2 cup measuring spoon here, measuring cup. So I'm just going to get that packed down tight. We're going to do 2 cups of brown sugar with my 1 1/4 cups of butter and mix that very thoroughly. And then on top of what's already there with the cinnamon rolls, adding this brown sugar and butter is, how could it not make it delicious, right? When you think about everything that is in it. So you want to serve it probably with a big old heaping side of fruit, just to make sure that you are giving something healthy on the side when you're serving this. But it's the holiday season. We don't eat like this every day, of course, so we can indulge or we can bless those that we love. Make sure this is nice and packed down. So I think that makes 4.5 cups. So if my math is right, that's 2 cups. Going to use my whisk here to get this all mixed in. And I like a nice deep bowl because then I don't have to worry about it splattering out. So this is just about mixed in. Get all the clumps out. I'm also going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of vanilla extract to this. Got a couple of clumps I'm seeing there, so you give it a good mess in. I don't have my heart-shaped spoons, but I'm just going to put some love in here anyway. If you know me, you know I've got those heart-shaped baking spoons that always reminds me to put some love in. And when I bake, especially at the holidays, it's always a great reminder, whoever it is that you're cooking for, just to pray for that person, to pray that whoever's going to eat this would just feel the sense of the love of Christ during the holiday season. The people that you're serving it to may be people you are thankful for. And so you can even pray for them and just recount the many ways that you're grateful for the way they serve you at your church, or the friendship that you share, or what great neighbors they are, or what have you. Or that it might be a blessing you're sharing to hope to share the love of Christ with them. Okay, so see how easy that was. I've got my topping ready to go. I am going to just sort of pour this over, sort of try to drizzle. I didn't have my big measuring cup with the lip on it that makes it nice to and easy to pour, but it's going to work. Save the rest for this bigger one. We're just pouring it over as such. Getting everything nice and covered. How could it not be delicious with all of this here? Save the rest for the other side. I'm going to have to grab also a spatula. Let me grab that. Go. So get all this delicious goodness raked out of the bottom of the pan. I don't know what I would do without a spatula. I feel like I would just be washing all sorts of savory goodness right down the sink when I washed everything. Here we go. Just about have every berry and every piece of cinnamon roll covered. Now, I didn't use the Pillsbury. I just used the Great Value brand to save a little money. But you could get those great big grand biscuits and cut, or grand cinnamon rolls and cut those up. or you could buy any brand that you want. This is the brand that I just chose to use. So there we go. I think we're ready to bake. I'm going to pop this in the oven. And then when it's finished, after they come out of the oven, while they're still just a little warm, so the icing will be easy to melt over it, I'm going to just use my kitchen shears, cut the quarter of this, and then drizzle it over the top. And I will grab a picture of what it looks like when it's all done, and we'll add that to the video as well. So I want to just say thank you for spending part of your day with me. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you, our viewers, from my home to your home and from my family to your family. I hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving. I hope that as you behold the people around your table, you are so abundantly blessed and grateful for the people that you are sharing your life with. And I just pray the Lord's blessings upon you from all of us here across My Heart Ministry to you at your house, all of our love, all of our gratefulness. Have a blessed Thanksgiving and a glorious Christ centered Christmas season.